Hello, I'm Get the Cans, and I'm not part of Anonymous. Specifically, I'm not a member of Anonymous. I might wear a mask on protests, but I'm not actually an official member. I don't go on 4chan or anything else. I do act anonymously, and that's about as close as I get to anonymous, but it's for my own protection when it comes to these kinds of things. I don't use my own real name, I don't use my real address, or anything like that. And although I may be showing my face, it doesn't exactly have a barcode tattooed on my forehead, where you can just kind of scan it and find out where the hell I live. Anyways, I was going to talk about a bunch of stuff, but I think for this video I'll start at the beginning of why I decided to start speaking in the first place. A long time ago I heard about the Church of Scientology when I heard that Tom Cruise was in it. I decided to look it up online and take some of the information in and just figure it out for myself, you know, learning a new thing, doing some research. One of the first sites I came across was Xenu.net. You know, one of the sites out there that give a whole lot of information about Scientology, a lot of things that Scientologists don't either know about or don't speak about. And I kept on searching and found several different sources, you know, little tidbits here and there, but Xenu.net was my primary source of information. Poor part on mine for the lack of research, but in all honesty I didn't really care at the time. But everything that I did hear about Scientology that didn't come directly from a Scientology source was basically that it was all bad. I mean, there's some good stuff, you know, there are nice people in there, and my dad knows somebody who is actually in the church itself. I'm not sure if it's free zone or the actual Church of Scientology, but you know, I'm sure there's a lot of great people in there, but unfortunately I don't think that they know exactly what they're getting into, according to this site here. But anyways, what ended up happening is I ended up deciding to keep my damn mouth shut because it seemed a little dangerous to be going on about what I really thought about this Church of Scientology. I didn't know exactly, you know, how powerful they were. I guess I was overestimating myself, and I kind of fell into their propaganda of exactly how effective they are at silencing their critics. Not to say that I'd be a very effective critic, but in all honesty, if you have a Scientologist who is in charge of getting rid of that kind of stuff, and he happens to have 5 minutes to kill, and happens to have my phone number, I don't really want horrible death threats put on my answering machine, or a bunch of other minor harassing things, basically to give me the message to go away. I really like my peaceful little life, and I'd like to keep it that way. But if I'm going to do any fighting, I'd like to bring the fight to them and not bring it back to me. So anyways, so after I decided to keep my damn mouth shut, I decided that I would still check up on it every once in a while. I would just go and do some research, find out some information, and just kind of keep up to date on it. And eventually one day, the Anonymous video came in. It's the ultimatum one, the one where they declare war on the Church of Scientology and swear to dismantle it in its current form. And it was kind of interesting to see something like that. I didn't actually think that anyone else was taking it as seriously as I thought I was maybe overreacting a little bit. I was thinking maybe I'm just, you know, exaggerating it. Maybe this Xenu.net is this minor little group that that is just kind of fighting against the church, you know, because there's always opposition groups. When you got one group of people, there's always opposition. But anyways, I didn't actually think that anyone was taking it seriously, but I guess there were, because on the 10th of February, I didn't actually expect anyone to show up. But there was a lot of people. It was huge. It was so huge that I decided to maybe check out the protests for myself on the 15th, and I did. And I've been researching online and watching videos by Tori Magoo 44 and other ones on XenuTV 1, and I'm trying to piece it together for myself, just to try to sort of legitimize my my decision, because I don't want to hear all of one side and not the other. Though unfortunately I have a very hard time of actually finding information that's even legitimate from the side of the Church of Scientology, which seems to be totally contradicting and muddled like crazy. It's just very hard to get both sides of a story, that where only one side speaks and the other side lies, and unfortunately that's the way it is. But with the March of 15th, I decided that I was going to speak for myself. I noticed there was a lot of anonymous talking and doing things, and I decided I wanted to add my own voice out there. just for the sake of trying to maybe get some feedback, maybe get some kind of answers to figure this out a little more thoroughly. As it sits right now, I totally believe that the Church of Scientology is in the wrong, that there's so much information out there about all the bad things that they do, that overshadow all the good things that they do, that they really need to be changed. They need to be, as the video had said, eliminated in its current form. Though I don't necessarily agree with a complete obliteration. In all honesty, people are welcome to believe whatever the hell they want, because that's just the way the world should work. I mean, if somebody decides to go and pray to some random god in their friggin' house, it really doesn't matter. But if they're starting things like enslavement and causing people to disconnect from their families, even excommunication a long time ago was more about just being banned from the church, but not necessarily the fact that everybody in the church was, abandoning you. You couldn't speak to them, you couldn't work with them, you couldn't do anything with them. That they were evil, they were the devil, you had to kill them, and all this other stuff that I keep hearing about, the kind of disconnection that happens. It's heart-wrenching to see the kinds of things that happen. So anyways, I decided to make the decision to speak for myself. I may not be part of Anonymous, but I will speak out and inform people of the dangers of this cult, to try to get them informed. What I would like to see is a lot of people knowing exactly what they get into when they get into this group. It would put a stop to a lot of the BS, and I think it would help a lot of people from falling into the trap of being mind-controlled and having their critical thinking affected and all this other stuff that goes along with joining something that's like a cult, that just basically drains your money, resources, and essentially the human spirit itself. Anyways, final words: information is free, Scientology isn't.